out of trouble.
Seek to keep you in a distracted, naive bubble.
Congress is ceremonial.
Shut up!
Trouble.
Derivatives bubble, the elite were in trouble.
And what,
The men behind the curtain know.
An era of corruption will follow.
Are you following me? So,
As we all know,
The state has
total control.
It's in the Communist Manifesto. A few members were even told,
Can I ask you just one question, though?
Take action to say no. Humankind is at a historic crossroads.
people that are knowledgeable know.
what gets people upset, and rightfully so.
High interest loans.
Corporations have been enthroned.
Pre-filtered to maintain the status quo.
a number of years ago.
Executive Order number 11110.
They don't teach that in the schools these days, and it wasn't that long ago.
How they accomplished this, we don't know.
Self-appointed guardians of the status quo.
They sit back and they evaluate with their lack of knowledge.
Television shows.
And saying no.
Liquid assets look like the way to go.
X-ray Bravo 70.
If humanity has any hope,
This system must go.
You're a hero.
Established financial powers who
Actually run the show.
How do you know everything that you know?
without ever being told.
It's a corporate takeover.
do as you're told. Presidents come and go. Ruling elite behind the throne. Seizing control.
Who will hope support the status quo?
The richest and most influential individuals on the globe.
The only way the money can come into existence
Is from loans.
They first blow one of the central columns.
The Democrats and Republicans aren't really opposed.
Sad hoax.
We're having a paranoid episode. Federal Reserve Jones.
People turn their intellect over when they've already attained total control.
Staging a false flag terror.
Purposely dynamited and blown up.
What we have here
Growing every year.
Defend the people against the financiers.
And they're the ones orchestrating the economic collapse we're seeing right now, so that's why we're here.
The message to future U.S. presidents and leaders across the world was clear. The financial crisis that they,
The corporatocracy.
carefully engineered.
And within 10 years,
What the hell happened here? One thing is clear.
You got a lot of nerve showing your face around here.
450,000 each year. This is also called the Great Year.
will result in either
We're all chiseling off each other.
Whether sought or unsought. And whether we are aware of it or not,
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
no way.
Dwight D. Eisenhower. And the money power.
Joseph P. Kennedy, the bootlegger, the speculator.
you got a tricky situation here.
When John Kennedy attempted to take the government back from the robber barons, he was brutally murdered. Terrorist. Is he a betrayer?
a situation where
Money essentially created out of thin air.
Free people everywhere.
So-called war on terror.
Perpetual warfare.
Royal Institute for International Affairs.
and it's put in there
I used to work there.
what we have here.
Panic atmosphere.
Maybe under here.
Superior.
Pathetic failures.
Protect our security.
You bastards!
Start new wars and engage in torture.
Likewise, the future.
But you never get to see the franchise owner.
Put sonar and radar in automobiles so they can't hit one another.
In 1904,
For
Our question.
is who you're working for. Torture. What your government pays for. At the end of the war, in the United States sector, final phase of world government takeover. Wipe out the poor.
every dime would be accounted for.
There would not be $1 in circulation. And at its core,
Social stratification.
it is an invisible war against the population.
Rich versus poor. The Kennedy assassination.
It is an interesting observation.
Today there's more slavery in the world than ever before.
Currency devaluation.
1974.
The facts change.
Who are you really working for? The banks.
You argue to the courts.
Desperate for change.
Moving back and forth through the revolving door.
The dawn of a new dark age.
If they controlled it before.
Fluid, perpetual change.
Find what you were looking for.
A wild goose chase.
You've been looking for? How long can you endure?
In 1924.
A building 7 wasn't even hit by a jet.
And since all this money is created out of debt,
Including the government.
How do they get away with it?
Interplanetary conspiracy.
Anybody can see or read.
I truly believe
He has lied and deceived. Poverty and preventable disease. If we look back at history,
Pancake theory.
Trade liberalization.
The science of tyranny.
Controlled population.
Our masters don't give a damn about you or your family.
Visit the internet for your information.
debt is money.
the entire generation.
Technology.
Corruption,
Consolidation, social stratification,
lifeblood of society.
Aggressive sterilization.
Corporatocracy.
Treasonous operation.
Total removal of sovereignty.
The ultimate revelation.
True divinity.
Passes legislation.
Most capitalist country.
largest prison population.
Hitler came to power in 1933.
Must reduce the
Human population.
Economic slavery.
Depopulation, the highest priority.
False flag operation.
Scarcity.
Imperial mobilization.
Foreign policy.
And deprivation. Beneficial condition.
For industry,
They're produced naturally.
or through manipulation.
The controlling oligarchy.
The president went on a month-long vacation.
Goods and services in the economy.
destroying the good people of this nation.
Sustainability.
Very clear pattern of machine automation.
The national controversy.
Germany was in a very, very terrible economic situation.
Conservation.
Completely nationalized, centralized, dictatorial situation.
And as long as this institution exists, perpetual debt is guaranteed.
The same system of total dehumanization.
They have created a power elite.
But we've done it very, very subtly.
Clearly seen.
What does it mean for society? It was the greatest robbery in American history.
More despotic than monarchy.
Buy up sectors of the world economy.
The money power of the country.
Interest-free, independent currency. Battery patents controlled by the oil industry. Alchemy to chemistry. Technology.
To alter our course from tyranny to liberty.
Peace in the Middle East.
Crisis would turn into a catastrophe.
As a patriotic dude.
For absurdity.
Why me?
Conspiracy theory. Both parties universally.
I don't need the money.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Taxes paid by the people in perpetuity. Already invested their very identity.
That unnerves me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country.
Philosophy.
And I don't believe
What's important for the people of this country.
Arrest all the criminals that stole the Baker bailout money. But to truly transform our economy.
With all the misery.
The fractional reserve policy.
Controlling the issuance of currency.
And everyone is truly free.
More insolent than autocracy. He seems to be a man of peace.
Anomaly.
By the early 20th century,
At least sets the policy.
For over a century.
and most dramatic, society today.
It's pure Wall Street. And I pray to God.
Inherently and historic.
Was not born in a manger.
That's not surprising. He went on to say,
Wrong-headed, let's say.
Compromising the well-being and integrity of society.
And in a way,
Obama did a 180.
Norway.
destiny.
In exactly the same way.
And how it truly affects society.
Okay, USA.
Homeland security
Self-interest and competition.
leads to social prosperity.
Controllers remain in the shadows, safe from public scrutiny.
And as the inequality grows,
There's nobody from heavy industry.
Prey upon the nation in times of peace.
National security.
Clean, renewable energy.
And a balanced economy.
That's on record congressional testimony.
A prison planet dominated by a ruthless gang of control freaks.
To come in and exercise real authority.
World order that I think all of us would like to see.
statistically,
It's government uplife for Wall Street.
Soothing instant money.
Due to its own shortcomings.
Catastrophe.
This is how they make policy.
They conspire against it in times of adversity.
Go to corruption and tyranny.
the end result of this system without fail is slavery.
Destructive brutality.
Willingly give up their national sovereignty. Agenda is the complete opposite of what he has claimed it to be.
Strange policy.
Because of the wide opportunities.
Distort the value of money.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military.
They can directly
That rapidly escalates into thermonuclear World War III. He speaks gently.
But unfortunately for humanity, and most importantly,
What stays the same is the ruling elite.
Spy agencies.
Are you working for Wall Street?
That's a privately owned company.
More selfish than bureaucracy.
Outrageous conspiracy theories.
Deprive the people of all property.
Technology.
Enemies of free humanity!
Jackals, hyenas, raptors, to say the least.
Behind the curtains of national security.
Economy.
The Federal Reserve had promised total transparency.
But in reality,
Banks are hoarding the money.
Laundry.
Tremble for the safety of my country.
KRS ain't buying it.
Politics in America today is identical to pro wrestling.
Promote a culture of true liberty, absorbing federal and state bureaucracies while they loot the economy.
Wall Street has killed Main Street.
American foreign policy.
Security.
The words are hypnotically repeated.
But you have an opportunity.
This is the front, their holding company.
The Rothschild family.
Throughout history,
Just pathetic in its self-pity.
Worldwide darkness and a new age of tyranny.
This was, of course, idiocy.
sadly, Bush advised China on the formulation of their one-child policy.
It's a monstrosity.
It is not far-fetched to see
A financial coup d'etat by Wall Street.
They've hijacked our country.
The destruction of the Western nations' economies.
extraordinary secrecy.
Destroy human society.
Taking on the real enemy.
Now, if this reality creates nothing, they will take your property.
They say nothing.
We can look over at Germany.
Political parties?
They seek to create monopolies.
Remember the Nazis?
Nationalist fervor.
Set up colossal Ponzi schemes.
These columns would have still been sticking up into the air 1,000 feet.
The likes of which the world had never seen. In the late 1990s, people standing up against the real power structure that had donated to both parties. Over 1 million dead Iraqis.
60 million Chinese.
The past 8 years have been a disaster.
Henry Kissinger, David Rockefeller, globalist planners,
World government takeover. They will rule the future.
Based not on human life, but financial and corporate power.
The average American is just gonna swallow the hook, line, and sinker.
worldwide economic power.
People in a state of panic for their future.
Get down to business.
It's like this.
We live in an age of darkness.
Set up these institutions. They had race science.
Under the cap and trade system,
Old cars fitted with satellite tracking boxes.
shredded the Constitution.
Manipulated through all of this.
Represents
And each and every one of you watching this,
John Fitzgerald Kennedy, last true president. We must get past the puppets. The man who promised
The true terrorists' ruthless banking interests.
Quite serious.
Terrorist.
It's a few extremists.
The
managers and creators of the system.
worst criminal element on this planet.
institutionalized practice.
Taking risks.
One of the oldest conceptual images.
One day, our grandchildren will look back on this
Polycentric oligarchical system.
Worldwide darkness.
Is fundamentally the result of the collective ignorance.
If you work for them,
Quit irrelevant superstitions.
A fantastic piece of nonsense.
We'll be the first line of defense.
Taxes will be paid on farm animals' flatulence.
Don't be ridiculous.
The principles of eugenics.
These factors and other abuses. The issuing power should be taken from the banks.
The inverse relationship is obvious. If you own their stock,
sell it.
Endurance.
Because of his resistance.
however, the fact is,
In the midst of it all,
It's technology that solves problems.
Not politics.
Show business.
It's showbiz.
With no one to guide you out, being stuck in permanent psychosis.
The takeover by the Bolsheviks.
swept into a mob psychology, irrationally throwing their common sense to the wind.
So if you're gonna go along with the trend,
Trilateral Commission intends
religions, economic warfare, tactics.
to have a two-class system. To its subdirectorates, where the money was going was a secret.
The application of interest. It is obvious the profound influence.
Globalist.
The money that already exists.
Prime directives.
Communist. Military scientist.
Our children wake up homeless.
Currency. Control the issuance of
Throughout Europe, Asia, and the Americas.
None of this makes sense.
And will persist.
We
we going to do this?
Most important mission.
Coexist.
Banking institutions.
I feel like I was meant for something more than this.
Ruthless banking interests.
Our question.
On minds of powerful men.
Causing it to crush it.
Over and over again.
First by inflation,
then by deflation.
for the betterment of the homeland. All the natural resources and infrastructure
Of the once sovereign lands.
agents of the
Bank of England.
Don't you understand?
I am the Sandman.
You and I and our children and our children's children were pledged as collateral on the debt of our government to the Federal Reserve.
And as long as we have an economic system that prefers and in fact creates scarcity and deprivation, crime will never go away.
The true terrorists of our world